Have you ever felt like you wanted to play a game of League of Legends, went into the queue and waited for it to pop, only to decline the match a few seconds later? That is how I feel today. I was so hyped in the pre-season of Season 11. Once it finally rolled out, I played 28 games in the first week, and I just felt that something wasn't right. My responsibilities had finally caught up to me. Even though I loved the game from the bottom of my heart, it felt like I was wasting my time every second I spent on it. Now my account sits DK'd at Plat 175 LP. I haven't touched ranked in 2 months. I was Diamond 1 last season, with 65% win ratio. I know I'm good at the game, I just don't feel like it's worth it anymore. My dream for a long time was to get Challenger, but I rarely played more than 300 games each season. I think I knew deep inside that it would be a huge time commitment to the game, and I would be seen as a failure if I didn't make it. Even though I would love to experience that feeling of accomplishment one more time, I just don't think it's worth my time anymore. Two of my all-time best friends recommended this one game to me, League of Legends. I was 12 at the time, and the only games I had been playing before were Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and also all of the Halo games that existed at the time. So I decided to download the game, and let me tell you, those were one of the best days of my life. We queued up for the first time, all 3 of us together. We came into the champ select, and I had no clue what champion I should play. My friends had already occupied 2 champions at the time that I wasn't allowed to play because it was what they made. Those were Master Yi and Ashe. Then they decided I should try out Alistar. They had no clue what he did, they just knew he was a good tank. We get into the game, I ran down to bot lane with my friend, and obviously I forgot to buy any items in the start. We finally recall back to the base, and I asked them, what should I build? It got dead silent in the Skype call for a few seconds, and they just told me to stack giant belts because it was a tank item. So for the next few games I had a finished build of 6 giant belts. Even though I can look back at it now and think I was stupid, I still miss these moments and cherish them the most when I look back at my first time experiencing this feeling. I was blissfully ignorant and I could not have been any happier. This was around the same time I started watching League YouTubers, and one of them was the Angry Honeybell,
which we'll talk about and go over. What that was right there was using my W and my Q ability kind of all in one fell.
He just made different guides to every champion he possibly could play. This man was a stepping stone for my career in League, and probably for many others. Even though he wasn't the best player in the world, the guides were still useful and fun to watch. A few months later, I started watching Xinin, CVHD, UB Danger and Spazzy, but I think we'll save that for another time. Fast forward to Season 5, I hit my first big milestone, Platinum, then 2 months later, Diamond. Now that I look back at it, I have no memories of me ever being in Platinum. Even Silver was harder for me for whatever reason, but that's besides the point. I advanced so fast up the ladder that I no longer had any friends I could play with. Normal games just didn't hit the right spot for me. For many of us, League of Legends was a fun game to play with a couple of friends. A game that you once got invited to by your closest friends had turned into a game that you only could play by yourself. At least for me. From that point on, I don't know if I ever enjoyed playing League like I once used to. I only played to maintain the skill that I had acquired over the years if I ever wanted to go for Challenger. But is that all League of Legends is? Not really, there's a ton of casual players, and on one day in Season 5 I met one of my best online friends I have ever had in the game of Aram. It was a girl from Spain, same age as me, we hit it off at an instant and we talked constantly every day about various things in our lives. She was probably the nicest friend I have ever encountered in an online game. That's one good thing League has offered, the ability to discover friendships that you never had been able to encounter otherwise. Apart from the fact that we stopped talking all of a sudden after a year. But that's life for you, I guess. A lot of different updates happened in Season 7, all from plants in the jungle to being able to replay your previous games, and the biggest one yet was the Assassin update, which directly hit my one-trick pony champion, Katarina. At first it felt clunky and hard to get used to the new rework. I got frustrated and annoyed at myself for not being able to play the champion I had been mastering for the past 3 years. Ultimately I get used to it, and it was for sure a well-needed update. But not everyone was as fortunate as us Katarina players, and by that I mean the Aatrox community. Right as it started to be seen in competitive play, they reworked him out of nowhere, even though it wasn't needed or even desired for that matter. They just did it because they could. I saw a huge decline in League players at the time. Riot made some bad decisions, and partially players felt disconnected from the game that they once loved to play. The game changed in a drastic way, and some couldn't grasp the direction the game was heading towards. I wasn't one of them, luckily, but I can understand why a handful of players felt the need to quit the game, for good. League of Legends went from being quite simplistic to being overcomplicated for no reason within a month. One famous example is to look at Dr. Mundo's passive and compare it to any other champion that has been reworked or released since Season 7. It's pretty humoristic, not gonna lie, but in a way it's quite sad. Fast forward to the pre-season, I get a Christmas gift from Riot Games. I get permanently banned on Christmas Eve. I don't know if I deserved it or not, and I'm not trying to justify my actions, but it felt very eerie when I first saw the message on my screen. I tried to log into the account to see the messages I sent that one game, but it wouldn't let me. I know a lot of players, just like me, has been permabanned for toxicity. Some are unjustified and some are not. But we can all agree on the fact that League of Legends has become a lot more soft and politically correct over the past 5 years. I think flame is part of any game or sport to an extent. I'd rather have a good flaming player than a bad but nice player. After I got banned, I started to boost and sell accounts. I know it's bad for the game, but I saw no other way I could enjoy playing League anymore. The feeling of never being able to see the account I've been playing on since Season 2 really hit me, and it for sure did to many others. I wish they would implement a reform system for permabanned accounts, but that's just wishful thinking from me. Don't get me wrong, League of Legends is for sure one of the best games ever made, and they get a bunch of shit for no reason. Some criticism I can stand behind, but a lot of the critique is just outright stupid. The only thing I miss with League of Legends is that first time trying it out with a couple of friends. The feeling of pure joy and interest. I believe the only time you'll experience this kind of emotion towards a game is when you're young. We did not have a care in the world back then, everything felt safe and with no constant fear of what reality actually is. As we grew older, the safety we felt when we were kids vanished, and the curiousness of one disappeared over the years. I'm only 20 years old, and last year a lot of things happened in my life, which made me reflect over my decisions. Is playing games even worth doing in life? Or is it just a place to escape when you don't want to face the physical existence that we only have one opportunity to experience? After all, when we die, we are forever gone. I still wonder how my life would have looked like if I never played it. Would it have been better or worse? Who knows? I imagine it would have been worse. League has helped me through a lot. It was my comfort zone, and it probably is for many others out there in the world. My favorite year in League was Season 4. It was when I first hit gold in ranked. I was 13 at the time. I jumped up from my chair in excitement and had the biggest grin on my face. Nothing I did when I hit diamond the year after. Whenever I ask someone which season is their favorite, they always answer with Season 5 or lower, even though the game is just as good now as then. I personally think we all reminisce about the past and think those days were just better because we didn't have the understanding of the game that we do now. We're way too attached to the past, both in-game and in real life. To sum up these last 2 minutes into a couple of words that truly describe my feelings towards this game that I have been enjoying for soon 10 years. Fuck League. Just kidding, you're for sure the best game I've ever played in my life.